Oh, baby, let me watch Wayback Machine 1. Classic TV shows for you anytime, anywhere. Oh, baby, watch Wayback Machine 1. Thank you very much.
Watching Wayback Machine 1. The classic shows are so much fun. Watching Wayback Machine 1. Your favorite TV has begun. It's entertainment for you. Classic TV just for you. Will make you feel so young.
I want you to get out of here and stay out. Now, look, I'm entitled to inspect the books and records of this zoo before I take over. Now, you gonna bring them out, or do I have to get a court order?
You've gone over too many books, Mr. Braun, and funny things happen to them. You're not going over mine.
Now, look here, Donovan, are you accusing me
I'm
of...
accusing you of using crooked political influence to have me fired and get my job here at the zoo. But I'm still boss until 6 o'clock Saturday night.
You know, Donovan, I might have offered to keep you on here as my assistant, but you're nothing but a frustrated sawdust monger, and you'll never be anything else.
Braun, I tried to kill you once. Don't tempt me to try it again. Get out!
An appointment with a police officer is always conditional upon his ability to keep it. This particular morning, I had an appointment with Lieutenant Weston, but they told me he'd been called to the city zoo on an important case. My case was important also, as I had an affidavit for the lieutenant to sign. So I decided to follow him to the zoo and get his signature there.
Well, that's all I can tell you, Lieutenant. Mr. Braun came here this morning before the zoo was open to the public. He wanted to inspect the books.
Oh, did he?
No, I refused to make them available. He left. A few seconds later, I heard a rifle shot.
Could you tell me exactly how many seconds later?
But my concept of seconds may not be accurate. Maybe 10, 15, maybe a half a minute.
How'd you know it was a rifle shot?
Well, there's a difference in the sound of a rifle and a pistol shot.
What's your name?
My name is Tyler. T.G. Tyler. The TG's for the Great. That's the way they used to bill me when I was headlined on the Valley Circus.
What's your job here, Mr. Tyler?
I'm a head animal feeder.
Where were you when you heard the shot?
I was over at the wolves' pen, laying some chicken wire at the fence. That keeps them from digging out. Wouldn't hurt to fly if they got out, but might scare somebody.
Well, what did you do when you heard the shot?
I come over here as quick as I could.
Uh-huh. Mr. Donovan, was there anybody else on the premises at that time?
My daughter and Moxie.
Moxie?
That's my assistant. Mostly takes care of the monkeys.
I told the policeman where to find Moxie.
Is your daughter here now?
So she's probably in the office. I'll call her. Marge? Marge? Marge, this is Lieutenant Weston. Marge takes care of my secretarial work.
Miss Donovan, where were you when the shot was fired this morning?
In my office.
So early?
I'm always in the office early. It's the only way I can catch up my paperwork.
Does your father share your office?
No. There are 2 offices in the building. They connect, but they also have separate entrances. Mine's in the rear, Dad's is in front.
What did you do when you heard the shot?
Guess I didn't do anything. I was too frightened.
Mr. Donovan, do you own a rifle?
Yes,
May I see it?
it's in the office.
Mr. Tyler?
It's in this cabinet. It's gone.
Yes? Just a minute. It's for you, the policeman at the gate.
Weston. Yeah. We'll keep looking. They can't find Moxie.
Get away from here fast. So get back in that car and drive me where I tell you to, or I'll shoot. Now, it started.
I suppose you know you're committing another crime by forcing me to drive you away from here.
I haven't committed any crimes.
You're acting very much like a man who has.
I said I haven't done anything wrong.
Why do you want me to drive you away from here fast at gunpoint?
Because I stole a car once, and I've been arrested twice besides that. And the police are sure going to blame me for shooting Mr. Braun.
Who's Mr. Braun?
He was going to be the new zoo superintendent.
Is he dead?
I think so. But I didn't shoot him.
Who did?
I don't know.
You've got to make a decision. If you did shoot Mr. Braun, you should know you haven't got a chance in the world of getting away. But if you're innocent, don't be foolish enough to make me drive you away from here, because the law guarantees you a fair hearing.
Who's going to see that I get a fair hearing? You?
It's a possibility. I'm a lawyer. And if you're innocent and telling me the truth, I can see that you get a fair hearing.
I don't know what...
The best offer you'll get today. You better take it.
All right. What do you want me to do?
Let's go have a chat with Lieutenant Weston.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a funny thing to me how a man can disappear from this territory. I know the zoo's a big place, but I want Moxie. Why would he disappear if he wasn't mixed up in this thing?
Good morning, Lieutenant.
Hi. What are you doing here?
I brought the fielding affidavit for you to sign.
Sure, but hold it a minute, Herb. I have to call him Napier.
Lieutenant.
Oh, just a minute, Herb. Yes, get me police headquarters.
Lieutenant.
Herb, what's the matter with you?
I have a client I want you to meet.
Meet a client? Look, I'm right in the middle of a murder case.
Come in, please. Talk. Lieutenant, this is Moxie Gaines.
Moxie?
Yes, I understand you consider him a suspect in the murder of Mr. Braun.
You know, when I got up this morning, I had black spots in front of my eyes. Now they're getting worse.
Moxie, give the lieutenant what I think is the murder weapon.
Careful with that thing.
It's all right, Lieutenant. It's unloaded. Here are the bullets.
You think of everything, don't you? Thomas, take this down to the lab, have it checked for ballistic fingerprints. Well, Moxie, where were you when you heard the shot?
The monkey cage. We feed them about 3 times a day. They're the most wonderful little friends to have, and I thought
Yes,
that...
now, wait a minute. Did anybody see you there?
The monkeys? And maybe T.G. He went by a little before that. Said that he was going to wire the wolf cage.
I see. Mr. Tyler, did you see Moxie any time before or after the shot was fired?
Yes, he's over in the monkey cage. I meant to talk to him. He spends too much time with them, Marcus.
And was he still up there after the shot?
He was coming out then. I had to make sure the wolf cage was wired good and fastened, or I'd have beat him up to where he was.
Anyway, I think this proves that Moxie couldn't have fired the shot.
Moxie, where did you find the gun?
Right by Mr. Donovan's office.
Why did you pick it up and run with it?
Well, like I told him, I've been arrested a couple of times, and I guess I was a little rattled. I thought, maybe I ought to do something with the gun. I knew it belonged to Mr. Donovan, and it's the gun that Miss Donovan practices with. And I thought the best
wait a
thing to
minute,
do would be
Moxie, hold it.
It's a...
Miss Donovan practices with a gun.
Sure, she has to keep in trim, I guess.
Keep in trim. For what?
I'm women's national sharpshooting champion.
Sharpshooting champion?
I have to defend my title again next month.
A sharpshooting champion? A woman who practices with a gun to keep in trim, hears a shot on the property and is too scared, too frightened to investigate?
Well, there's a difference.
Yes, there is. Now, would you mind telling me exactly what happened from the time you arrived to work at the zoo this morning?
Well, we drove into the employees' parking lot as usual and got out and walked up to the office. There was a man waiting in front of the office for us, and Dad stopped to talk to him.
Did you know the man?
No.
Then what did you do?
I went on up into the office and started to work.
Well, did you see either Mr. Braun or your father again before the shot?
No.
Mr. Donovan, you were talking with Mr. Braun in front of your office, right?
Yes, that's right.
Then he left and you went inside.
Yes.
Now, the shot was fired a few minutes later. Now, how would Moxie have time to get up there, get the gun, and disappear before you came back outside?
I guess I was pretty upset. As a matter of fact, I was blazing mad. The sound of the shot didn't make much of an impression on me for a couple of minutes.
I think that's just about right. That's just about according to the way I figured it. You see, it's like this. When I was hurrying up to the clearing there after I heard the shot, I saw Mr. Donovan coming out of the office.
And?
Didn't have no gun in his hand. Now, I don't think that Mr. Donovan could have shot Mr. Braun, took the gun down to where Moxie found it, gone back to his office again, and been coming out when I come up the walk. Do you?
Well, this is quite a group. Everybody has an alibi for everybody else. Weston. Yeah. Fill me in, huh? No, really? Well, I see, yeah. What? Oh, thank you very much. Well, I asked my office to check on Mr. Braun, and they found out that his negligence was responsible for the death of an aerialist 15 years ago, Virginia Donovan, Miss Donovan's mother, and, of course, Mr. Donovan's wife. And they also found out that Mr. Donovan had a sharpshooting act with the circus at the same time. And incidentally, I understand that you had to be disarmed to prevent you from killing Mr. Braun right after the accident. Now, everybody here has an alibi, except Miss Donovan. Nobody saw her with or without a rifle. She was in the office doing paperwork.
Now, just a minute.
You keep out of this. Now, Miss Donovan could have gone around outside the building, shot Mr. Braun, and been back in the office within 10 seconds. Now, you said you didn't know Braun. After he was responsible for the death of your mother, after the publicity in the papers about the feud between your father and Mr. Braun, and now when Braun returns and threatens to step in again, I think we have about everything. Ability, access, and motive. Miss Donovan, I'm placing you under arrest.
In answer to the question, what makes a criminal? Many authorities agree it's criminal thinking on the part of the individual. For instance, a man who contemplates a crime and then commits it is but manifesting his thought, in the same manner as an artist sees a beautiful landscape in his mind's eye and then transfers his thought to canvas. Somehow, I couldn't connect Marge Donovan with criminal thinking. So the following morning, I stopped in to have a talk with her father. His answers to my questions sent me down to see Lieutenant Weston in a hurry.
Good morning, Herb.
Good morning.
What brings you to the Chamber of Horrors this morning?
Well, I thought I'd stop in and spoil your day.
You mean Miss Donovan?
Miss Donovan.
Listen, have you been retained by the American Society of Lady Sharpshooters who insist that winging people like Mr. Braun comes under the title of keeping in trim?
No. I've been retained by what the poets call conscience. It's a little thing with sharp points on it. When it turns around, it digs me right here.
Well, Herb, I think you better have a little chat with your conscience. It's giving you the runaround. Let me give you the facts.
No, I know the facts. She lied about knowing Braun. She had a motive, the opportunity. But suppose her actions were influenced by the fact she thought her father was the guilty party.
Tyler settled that. He provided Donovan with an alibi.
What does Marge Donovan know about alibis?
In other words, Herb, what you're saying is that you think Marge Donovan is innocent.
Not in other words. Those are the words.
Even though I was only a little girl at the time, I can remember it as clearly as if it had happened yesterday.
Just what did happen, Miss Donovan?
Well, my mother was an aerialist with the circus. My father was a sharpshooter. They got married and retired. But the little business they had started failed, and so they went back to work for Mr. Braun.
At the time he was manager of the circus?
Yes. Then there was the time when the aerial equipment that my mother used needed to be replaced. My father kept urging Braun to do so, but he refused. He said it'd be all right. Well, it collapsed, and my mother was killed.
In your quieter moments, did you ever mentally picture Mr. Braun and think how satisfying it might be to point a rifle at him and pull the trigger?
No. I've never fired a gun at any living thing in my entire life. I've never wanted to.
Miss Donovan, when two people in a case mistakenly try to help each other, it frequently causes considerable confusion. Now, if I agree to help you, will you help me, no matter who gets hurt? Neither one of us can expiate any other crime except our own. It has to be that way. Now, will you help?
Yes.
Did you see or hear anything that you haven't mentioned from the time that you entered the zoo to the time the shooting occurred?
No. And I was tensely alert, but I heard Minnie.
Minnie?
The elephant.
I see. Well, if anything else comes to your mind, let me know. I'll be in touch with you. And don't worry.
Why, baby? Why?
Why what, Mr. Donovan?
Why did Marge lie about knowing Mr. Braun? She pointed suspicion right at herself.
She thinks you're guilty.
Well, suppose I am guilty. Suppose I were to confess.
Suppose we eliminate you and your daughter for a moment, Mr. Donovan, and get back to Moxie and Tyler. Could they have known Mr. Braun in the past?
I don't suppose Moxie did, but Braun one time managed the Fairleigh Circus when Tyler was with it.
Don't you think it's rather coincidental that out of 4 people here, 3 of them should have known Mr. Braun in the past?
Well, you'd have to understand circus people to be able to explain that, Mr. Maris. Once you get the smell of sawdust in your nose and pink lemonade in your blood, that's it. Usually for the rest of your life. And when their active days in the circus are over, they usually gather in the fringe activities.
Like the zoo?
That's right. Most circus people know each other because they know very few other people. They live in a world of their own. So I can assure you that there's nothing unusual about the fact that we all know Mr. Braun.
I see. Well, I may call upon you for a statement in the next few days.
Any time, sir.
Goodbye. Hello, Moxie.
Oh, hello, Mr. Maris. How about Miss Donovan?
She'll be all right, I hope.
Gee, so do I.
Hello, Mr. Murray.
Yes, Mr. Tyler?
Just make it TG. That's what I'm used to, and it reminds me of what I was at one time.
I'm sure it does. Mr. Donovan tells me that you used to work for Mr. Braun, T.G.
Yeah, sure did. Want to walk along with me? I got to make the round before lunch.
I'm with you. See you later, Moxie.
I've got quite a few handles there, you see. Yeah, Mr. Myers, I was the headline animal act on a circus that Mr. Braun managed. The show got in trouble financially, and the creditors took over.
I see.
Funny, too, because it's doing a fine business. She is. Yeah, that old gal. Hello. You're that. That's Minnie. She's my favorite. And I guess I'm hers, too, because she always says hello to me. You heard of that trumpet a while ago, didn't you?
What happened after the creditors took over?
Place seized my animals and sold them separately. Got them scattered all over the world. It was a big shock to me, Mr. Barrett. That's when I had my stroke.
Did you ever find out what happened to the circus funds?
Most of the people thought that Mr. Braun made away with most of the money, but I never could go along with that.
You said Minnie was the reason you came here. How's that?
Well, she was in my group. She was my lead cow. So they sold her to some rat-a-trap outfit, and after I got out of the hospital, I couldn't find her. I didn't know where she was. And after an awful long time, I found out that they'd sold her to this zoo. So I come here and got a job.
T.G., where can I find a phone?
Just around the corner there.
Thanks.
Weston. All right, Herb, I'll be right there.
Lieutenant, I think I know who shot Braun. Minnie told me. An elephant? According to Tyler, Minnie trumpets low every time he walks by. Miss Donovan said that yesterday morning, just a few seconds before the shot, Minnie trumpeted. Shall I tell the rest of it, T.G.?
Rest of what?
It means that instead of wearing the wolf's cage, you passed in front of Minnie just a few seconds before the shot, which would have put you in a position to do the shooting with your left arm and without being seen. In this way, you provide alibis for Donovan and Moxie, and incidentally yourself. Am I right?
No, you're not right. You can't be right. They don't make him any better than T.G. Tell him he's lying. Go on, tell him.
I'm sorry, Moxie. He's right. I did it.
John. Moxie wants us to take a tour of the zoo and see some of the other animals.
But I don't want to see any of the other animals.
Well, John, maybe some of the other animals want to see you.
This is Nikki. Turn to Wayback Machine 1 for classic TV and movies all summer long too on your portable devices. The beach, cookouts, anywhere. Subscribe today. Thanks.